welcome dear students. Welcome to our course entitled Chemical Analysis in Pharmaceutical Sciences. Myself Rahul Pandey, Assistant Professor, Pharmacy Department, Swami Ram Himalayan University, Jolly Grant, Dehradun. This is a course intended for undergraduate pharmacy students. The course comprises of 10 lessons in which you will understand basics about pharmaceutical analysis, and you will also understand its application in pharmaceutical industry and the real-time use. So without getting any further delay, let us delve into our course. Dear students, our first lesson gives us basic introduction about pharmaceutical analysis. In this chapter, we will study what pharmaceutical analysis is, how it is useful for the pharmaceutical industry, and you will also learn how it is associated with the regulatory bodies and what are the regulatory requirements. So let us start our first chapter.
Lesson number 1, Introduction to Pharmaceutical Analysis. So first, we should have an overview of pharmaceutical analysis. We must know what pharmaceutical analysis is and what is its definition. So, pharmaceutical analysis is a branch of analytical chemistry, and you know that in analytical chemistry we perform different analytical methods. It is actually a branch of chemistry in which we use chemical reaction and perform different analytical methods. So pharmaceutical analysis is also a kind of analytical chemistry. It will focus on the quality control, quality assurance, testing of the pharmaceutical products. So it means that it will be focused on the analysis of the pharmaceutical product, and in that analysis our aim, our objective would be to control the quality, to assure that the quality of the product is good, and we are testing the pharmaceutical products time to time while we are performing pharmaceutical analysis. So this pharmaceutical analysis is done both during the development and production and also after they reach the market. So this is what pharmaceutical analysis do. Now, it also involves systematic and scientific examination. So actually what we are doing in pharmaceutical analysis is that we are systematically performing a method. Our basis of the method will be purely scientific, and we would be testing the pharmaceutical substances. We will be testing pharmaceutical formulations. We would be testing different drug delivery system, and our objective is, why we are testing? We are testing because we want to ensure that our products are safe, our products are efficient to eradicate the disease, and also that our products are in total compliance with the regulatory standards. Regulatory standards are a very key aspect of the pharmaceutical product. A pharmaceutical product, before reaching to the market, has to apply the compliance with regulatory standards. So moving on to our next slide, we are learning the key aspects of pharmaceutical analysis. It means that we are learning why we are doing pharmaceutical analysis. So the first point is that we need to identify or we need to verify something. Oh, what we are verifying it, what we are identifying it? In pharmaceutical analysis, we are identifying a pharmaceutical product, a drug molecule, or something present in the sample. We need to confirm their identity. That is why we are performing pharmaceutical analysis. Second thing is the purity assessment. We need to be very careful about the impurities which are present in the pharmaceutical substances, and we need to ensure that these impurities should be within the acceptable limits. It should not go beyond the acceptable limits. So that is why we are applying the purity assessment. So by the help of pharmaceutical analysis, we check the purity of the pharmaceutical product. Point number 3 is potency determination. During the potency determination, we are checking whether our pharmaceutical product, or you can say that our active ingredient is in the particular or is in the sufficient strength or not. It has to be in the intended strength, otherwise it will not be able to cure the disease. So that is why it becomes important for us to check whether our ingredient is in particular strength or not, or in the intended strength or not. So that is known as potency determination. Now, content uniformity. Pharmaceutical analysis also checks the content uniformity. Content uniformity means the ingredient, or the main active pharmaceutical ingredient, is uniformly distributed throughout the dosage form. Because if it is not distributed throughout the dosage form, you will get different amount of the drug molecule or the medicine every time you are getting the dose. Means, for example, if it is not distributed uniformly, in the morning you may take a high amount of drug molecule medicine, or in the evening you may take the lesser amount of drug molecule. So we need to ensure that every time when a patient is taking drug, he or she is getting the fixed amount of dose, and that can happen only when the content uniformity is present. Now moving to the next slide. Pharmaceutical analysis also done in the dissolution testing. Dissolution testing is a kind of pharmaceutical analysis in which we check whether our pharmaceutical product is releasing its active ingredients in the standardized dissolution medium in a suitable way or not. See, dissolution happens when we take a drug molecule, the drug or the pharmaceutical product, it goes inside our body and it dissolves, and then it gets absorbed into the bloodstream. So dissolution has a very key importance. And dissolution, that is why we need to check outside the body, and we do it by performing the dissolution testing. So this dissolution testing is a kind of test that we do on our pharmaceutical product, and this ensures that our pharmaceutical product is releasing the active ingredient or the drug molecule or the medicine that is present properly in the standard dissolution medium. Now next thing is stability testing. In the stability testing, we ensure that our pharmaceutical product is stable throughout the given shelf life. Means there is a shelf life of the pharmaceutical product, maybe 2 years or 3 years. So we should ensure that our pharmaceutical product is stable throughout the given shelf life, and for that we perform the stability testing. If our compound is not stable, it will not stay, it will degrade before the shelf life, and the quality, this will affect the quality of our pharmaceutical product. So we need to understand, we need to check whether our product is stable or not, and we actually test them under various conditions like temperature changes, humidity changes, and we ensure that our product is sufficiently stable under the different temperature variations, and it is, or it will be stable throughout the given shelf life. Now last point is the method development. What is method development? Method development means we are developing and we are also validating, or you can say that we are ensuring the different analytical methods that we are using for quantification and the characterization of pharmaceutical compounds. So pharmaceutical analysis is also used to develop different analytical methods, different ways of testing, which is known as method development. And why we are doing this? We are doing this because we have to develop different methods in order to quantify means we are going to tell that how much amount of a substance is present in the sample, and we are also going to characterize means we are just telling that this one or this kind of compound is present in our sample. So method, what does method development do? Method development ensures us, or method development is the process in which we develop different analytical methods which we are going to use to quantify or to qualify the different pharmaceutical compounds. Now we will understand the regulatory requirements in pharmaceutical analysis. Now we are going to understand why there is regulatory requirement in pharmaceutical analysis and how pharmaceutical analysis is connected with and how does it help in the compliance of regulatory requirement. Now first of all, understanding the regulatory framework, you see that pharmaceutical products are something that are dealing with the human life, right? A human life is directly associated because he or she is taking those pharmaceutical products as medicine to cure the disease. As the product is going inside the body of a person, that product should be extremely safe, and to ensure the safety we are having some guidelines which are called as regulatory requirements. These regulatory requirements are given by the authorities, the government bodies, or the related organization which are actually the part of government, which ensures us that these criteria should be met so that it will ensure that the pharmaceutical product will be of the particular quality. Now you can see that pharmaceutical industry is highly regulated. Now you should understand ki why it is highly regulated. It is highly regulated because it is dealing with the human life. There has to be some regulations. Previously, when there were no regulations, people used to make medicines by their own. And obviously, when they are having no technical knowledge, if there is no regulatory requirement, people will make medicine by their own. They will give it to some other person, which can be dangerous for the other person's life. So pharmacy requires a highly technically skilled persons who are making these products, and also the process of manufacturing and distribution is also controlled by the government. That is why it is known as highly regulated. So pharmaceutical industry is highly regulated, and it has some stringent requirements. Means these requirements will not going to change. These are very strict. And why they are strict? Because they are ensuring the safety, the efficacy and the quality of the pharmaceutical product. They are ensuring that your pharmaceutical product is safe to take, it is efficient enough to cure the disease, and it is of a good quality. So these are the requirement. Now there are many regulatory agencies. For example, in America, we are having US Food and Drug Administration, US FDA, or simply in short, we call it FDA. So there is a European Medicine Agency in EMA. They are the central agencies. They play a very important role in placing these standards. So in particularly in our India, in our country, we are having the organization named as Central Drug Standard Control Organization, which is in short called as CDSCO. This organization comes under Directorate General of Health Services, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India. So this body CDSCO is the National Regulatory Authority of India, which gives us the guidelines, regulatory guidelines related to pharmaceutical product. So here we will discuss the key regulatory guidelines which are given by these bodies. So these are the important things, and as for the undergraduate student, you must know what these guidelines are. At least you must know the basic introduction of these guidelines. Now first thing is GMP, good manufacturing practices. As the name clearly indicates, it is talking about what should be the manufacturing practices, how you should manufacture the product so that you are ensuring the three things. What are that? These are safety, this is efficacy, and the quality. So in the previous slide I already told you that these government agencies, they ensure the safety, efficacy and quality. So every time, everybody, every guideline is just ensuring these three things. and these three things are ensured on different levels. Like first, in the manufacturing level, so there is good manufacturing practices. So good manufacturing guidelines, good manufacturing practices, GMP guidelines ensure that our pharmaceutical products, when they are produced, they are according to the quality standards given by the regulatory guidelines. Yeah, or you can say that they are following GMP. GMP are nothing but simple guidelines which are telling how you should be manufacturing the pharmaceutical product, and you have to follow these guidelines. And when you will follow these guidelines, it will be automatically ensured that your product is of good quality. Now, second thing is GLP. GLP means good laboratory practices. GLP says that whatever you are doing in the laboratory, whenever you are working in the pharmaceutical laboratory, you are working in the laboratory associated with the pharmaceuticals, you have to follow these guidelines so that your testing, see, in our lab we are testing, basically the major work is to test the products. So we have to do these testing again under the guidelines which ensure that our laboratory workings are correct. So this is the GLP. Now the next thing is CGMP. CGMP stands for Current Good Manufacturing Practices. Current Good Manufacturing Practices are nothing but the latest guidelines of the GMP. You can say that the latest. So obviously current GMP, CGMP would contain all of the things, all of the sophisticated things, all of the most contemporary things which are applied during the manufacturing process. So obviously it will be better than GMP, and it will improve our pharmaceutical manufacturing, and it will definitely guarantee the product quality. Coming into the next slide, we are having a book called Pharmacopoeia. Pharmacopoeia is a book, it is produced by the country, it is produced by the regulating body of a country, and this book has the guidelines of analysis and testing of the pharmaceuticals. So again, obviously we have to follow these books in order to ensure that we are complying with the regulatory guidelines. So like for example, in America, in United States, we are having USP called as United States Pharmacopoeia. So it will define the quality parameters of the pharmaceutical product and the methods of analysis. Now we are having International Conference on Harmonization. Again, this also contains the guidelines. The aim of these guidelines is to harmonize the regulations on a global scale. Means the guidelines given by this body is applied globally. So obviously there will be a lesser variation, and they will facilitate international drug development and registration. So obviously they are connecting globally, and they are trying to make all the pharmaceutical bodies come into the same platform so that the product quality can be ensured. And obviously if the quality is globally recognized by some guideline, it can be easily transported or given or delivered to the other countries as well. Main thing is the Indian Pharmacopoeia. In our country, we are having Indian Pharmacopoeia. In short, it is known as IP. This Indian Pharmacopoeia is published by the Indian Pharmacopoeia Commission. What does it do? It prescribes the official standards for drug. It will say that your drug quality should be this kind of. It has to follow these standards. Only after that it will be of the correct quality. Like for example, if it says that ki our drug should contain, our pharmaceutical product should contain 99.99, not less than 99.99% of the API. So obviously when we are complying this guideline, this instruction, we are ensuring that our product, pharmaceutical product, is of the good quality. So these kind of things are written here. So pharmacopoeia is giving us the official standards that we should apply. These standards for the drugs obviously which are producing or which are getting marketed in India, these are regulated by Indian Pharmacopoeia, and thus Indian Pharmacopoeia is assuring the quality of medicines which are manufactured or distributed in our country. So this was all about our chapter number 1, and coming on to the summary of what we have studied. So first we have studied the definition, we have understood what pharmaceutical analysis is, and we have understood that it's a branch of analytical chemistry in which we are performing the systematic examination of pharmaceutical substances and products. And why we are doing that? We are ensuring the safety, efficacy and compliance with the regulatory standards. It is very important. Pharmaceutical analysis is extremely important. Why? Because it is playing a vital role in the drug development and obviously the quality control. It is ensuring that pharmaceutical products are safe, because we are constantly performing the identification that in our pharmaceutical product the right drug is present, and we also performing the quantification. That means we are checking that in our pharmaceutical product, like in our tablet capsule, the drug which is present in the is in the sufficient quantities. Now pharmaceutical analysis is very important for the meeting the regulatory guidelines, because whenever you are performing pharmaceutical analysis, you are ensuring that regulatory guidelines are properly followed. And if regulatory guidelines are properly followed, then different kind of approval, like for example approval from FDA or European Medical Agency, it becomes easy. Now what are the scopes of pharmaceutical analysis? So a pharmaceutical analysis is applied in the identity verification. That means we are checking that, for example, we are having a tablet of paracetamol. So when we are checking the identity, we are actually checking that that in our tablet paracetamol is present, not the other drug. So we are verifying the identity. Pharmaceutical analysis is used to check the purity, to check the potency, the strength, to check the confirm, to check the content uniformity, dissolution testing, stability testing, method development. These all we have studied. Now we have also studied that it covers a wide range of analytical techniques like chromatography, spectroscopy, and these chapters you are going to study in the next lessons of this module. Now coming to the regulatory framework, this was the last thing that we studied in this chapter. We have studied that pharmaceutical company is a highly regulated industries, and it has to constantly meet the standards which are set by the agency like Food and Drug Administration, and the European Medical Agency, and the United States Pharmacopoeia International Conference on Harmonization. These all things we have to study. So in these there are guidelines. These bodies gives us the guidelines like good manufacturing practices, good laboratory practices. These guidelines should be met in order to confirm the safety, efficacy and quality of the pharmaceutical product. So thank you so much.
So, students, I hope you have understood the whole lesson, and you have understood what pharmaceutical analysis is and how it is important for the pharmaceutical industry. Our next chapter and our next video is on the basics of analytical chemistry. These basics are important for undergraduate student. A student must learn these concepts in order to get skilled. So let's meet in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Thank you.